Greetings of the day, dear students. In this video, we are going to discuss about the wire and cables. What are the different types of wires we are having, and what are the different types of cables we are having, depending upon the how the classification is given according to the material used or according to the number of cores, right? And depending upon the type of insulation used according to the voltages at which they are manufactured or the operating voltage levels. Like this, we will see the different classifications of the wires and cables, and also we will discuss about the specification of the cables. What do you mean by this 19 by 2.24? How do you understand that numerator, and how do you understand that denominator? And also examples of some few specifications of the cables. All those things we are going to discuss in this video. Right now, already we have completed in our previous videos about the fuse element, circuit breaker, and earth leakage circuit breaker. Right now, we will see the wire and cables. Dear students, if you observe, these wires or cables are the most common form of the conductors. In order to establish or in order to make the current flow from source to the load point, we have to make use of these conductors. Now these are going to carry the electric current from all types of circuits and systems from source to the load, right? Obviously there is a difference between the wire and cable. Of course, the both are conductors only, but there is a difference between the wire and cable. How do you understand that? According to the Bureau of Indian Standards, BAS, the wires and cables will be defined as follows. What are those? If it is a bare conductor, it is not going to have any covering. This is where we can observe in at the end of the streets or on transmission lines or on distribution lines, where we will be having the conductors, but they are not covered with any sort of insulation. On top of those bare conductor, there won't be any sort of covering, right? So that is simply a bare conductor. Best example is the overhead transmission and distribution lines. But whereas wires, these are also conductors only. In our household, while making the connection between the electrical equipment and the supply mains, we are going to use an electrical wire. Along with the conductor, on the surface of that, it will be having the insulation. Right? Now this insulation will separate the conductor electrically from other conductors. This is going to separate and it is also used to help us. If you touch that conductor wire, you will not get electric shock, because on top of that, what is there? Insulation is there, right? Inside that, the bare conductor will be there. Now here, if it is a cable, it is going to consist of 2 or more conductors covered with suitable insulation, and it will be surrounded by a protecting cover. Now the cable is going to consist of 3 parts. One is the conductor or core, and the another one is the metal wire, strand of wires carrying the current, right? All these are same, one and same. You can call it as either a conductor or core or a metal wire or strand of wires. All these 3 are same. You can call it as a strand of wires, or a metal wire, or core. The another one is the another part of the cable. Essential part is the insulation of dielectric material, and the third component is the protective covering for the protection of insulation from mechanical damage. So the innermost part, that is the core, is for its purpose is for carrying the current, and on the core there will be the insulating material. Its purpose is to avoid leakage of current from the conductor. In order to avoid the leakage of current from the conductor, we used to have a dielectric material, right? And above that we used to have a protecting covering for the protection of insulation. In order to protect this insulation, on the top layer we used to have a protective covering, right, in order to protect the insulation from mechanical damages. So these three are the essential parts of a cable. One is the conductor or core, another one is the insulation of dielectric, and another one is the protective covering. Now coming to its classification, how the classification will be done, right? Depending upon the type of the material used, they can be of copper conductor cables or aluminum conductor cable, and according to the number of cores, it can be either single core cable or double core cable or 3-core cable, 4-core cable, right, or 2-core with earth continuity conductor cable. These are the different types of we are having according to the number of cores. If it is according to the material, we are having the copper conductors and aluminum conductor cables, right? According to the insulation, we are having a vulcanized Indian rubber VIR insulated wires or cables, tough rubber sheeted or cable tire sheeted cables, polyvinyl chloride cables, lead sheathed cables, weatherproof cables, flexible cord and cables, XLPE cables. Like this, depending upon the type of the insulation used, we will be having these many classifications, right? Now according to the application where the cable or wire is going to be used, whether for low voltage applications or high voltage or very high voltages or for some extra high voltage applications, depending upon the magnitudes of the voltage, we are going to have low tension cable or low voltage cables, LT, low tension cables up to 1000 volts they can get operated, high tension cables up to 11,000 volts, 11 kV, super tension cables from 22 to 33 kV is the operating voltage range, right? Extra high tension cables, EHT cables, 33 to 66,000 volts, 33 to 66 kV, and if it is beyond 132 kV, we have to go for extra super voltage cables. So dear students, depending upon the magnitude of the voltage, we are going to have low tension cables, high tension cables, super tension cable, extra high tension cable, extra super voltage cable. Like this different types we are having. If you recollect, depending upon the type of the material used, copper conductor cable, aluminum conductor cables, according to the number of cores, according to the type of the insulation, and also according to the voltage level, right? So like that the classifications can be given. These are the points to be highlighted while attempting a question, while attempting the questions in this unit during the exam, right? Yeah. So here cables are specified by providing the size of the cable in the metric system. Example, they will write something like 19 by 2.24 or 7 by 1.7, 7 by 2.24 or 7 by 2.5, etc. like this. Here the numerator indicates the number of strands used, because if you are having a conductor, sometimes that conductor will be made up of number of small wires, right? If you are having a conductor like this, it will be again internally having strands. For example, here 1 2 3 4 5 6 strands we are having, right? Like this, if you are having one single conductor, again it is made up of some group of conductors, small, and each conductor will be having its own diameter. The denominator part indicates the diameter of each strand, and the numerator part indicates the number of strands present, like this, right? So here type of the conductors used in the cable, whether it is a copper or aluminum, and the number of cores, whether it is a single core or twin core or 3 core or 4 core, etc., like that. And depending upon the voltage grade, whether it is getting operated at 245, 240 or 415 volts or 650 by 1100 volts grade, and type of the cable with clear description regarding the what is the insulation used, what is the shielding material used or shielding type, armoring and bedding, etc. All these are the points to be considered with respect to the specification of a cable. Like insulation material, shielding use, armoring and bedding use, right? Voltage levels, type of the conductor, whether it is copper or aluminum, number of strands and the diameter of each strand, right? All those things will decide the specification of a cable, right? For example, somewhere if you have come across 7 by 20 VIR aluminum conductor pin core 650 by 1100 grade, it is to be understood as, in this context, the numerator 7 indicates the number of strands in the cable and the denominator 20 represents the gauge number of each strand, and the cable is going to have 2 cores with made up of aluminum, and the insulation utilized is vulcanized Indian rubber VIR, and the voltage rating they can get operated is for 650 by 1100 volts. That is the voltage level. So like this you have to understand the specifications. Numerator number indicates the number of strands, denominator indicates the diameter of each strand or cross section, VIR insulation level, and the conducting material, how many number of cores are there, and the voltage level it will get operated, like that. For example, if you have seen somewhere the specifications like this: 19 by 1.12 aluminum conductor, 3.5 core, 1100 volts, PVC cable, PVC sheathed. So in this context, the cable is consisting of 19 strands. Each strand has a diameter of 1.12 mm, right? And the conductor is made up of aluminum, and the insulation is made with polyvinyl chloride PVC, is covered with PVC sheathing, and it is used for 1100 volts supply system. Right? So these are the specifications of a cable. So in this video we have seen the difference between the wire and the cable and the bare conductor, what is its purpose, how they are classified, and what are the specifications. All those things we have discussed in this video, right? Thank you.